spoke about doing the right thing, but still being criticized.
Just like a mayor, police officer, you can go from being celebrated to being crucified.
If your mayor can't face the media, dodge scandals, and still think she's doing a great job, this video is for you. Let's go and come back to the wild world of Mayor Cantrell, the mayor of New Orleans, where silence is the strategy and accountability is missing in action. Let's get into it.
Today, Mayor LaToya Cantrell made a rare public appearance amidst being at the center of several controversies. For the first several months, Cantrell has dodged the press as we've talked or tried to talk to her about the council enacted travel ban, the lawsuit from the Orleans Parish School Board, and much more. Alyssa Curtis tried to get answers today.
Friday, Mayor Cantrell spoke to the most recent NOPD recruit class for nearly 10 minutes.
Good morning and congratulations.
But was mum when we tried to ask her several questions.
Mayor Cantrell, any comment on the judge's decision to halt the travel ban?
As you see there, we have a mayor who treats accountability like a bad ex, avoids it at all costs. We haven't talked about her in a while, but we're back. And what you're about to witness is the political version of now you see me, now you don't. So Mayor Cantrell officially pops out like some rare Pokemon after months of dodging the press. Instead of using that moment to clear the air, set the record straight, or even act like she cares, but she talks to some police recruits and then just bounces, when you literally have reporters there asking some real questions and you pull out the old, if I don't acknowledge them, maybe they'll just go away move. This isn't preschool. You don't get to play the quiet game where you're the one holding the keys to the city. So let's not pretend this is some isolated moment. You're talking about a long list of issues, red flags, and scandals that have made headlines over and over again. This mayor has been accused of everything from spending taxpayer money on luxury travel to using a city-owned apartment for her personal benefit.
You know, based on the false allegations that come my way, by the time I finish this job, literally, you know, accused of sleeping with half of the city of New Orleans, both genders and all pronouns. I'm known as Teddy sometimes and then Teddy other times. So with
Okay.
New details about the federal investigation into New Orleans Mayor LaToya Cantrell. As sources tell Fox 8, the FBI wants to know more about the time Cantrell spent with a member of her security detail.
Looking into a former member of Cantrell's executive protection team, Jeffrey Vappy, as well as the time the pair spent in a city-owned apartment in the French Quarter.
So do you feel like his actions embarrassed the unit?
I would say so, yeah.
You feel like he crossed that line of professionalism with his protection duties?
They all noticed it. So, you know, we were like, what is this dude doing, you know?
It all started in May 2021, right around the time Officer Vappy was assigned to Mayor Cantrell's executive protection detail. Coincidence? Maybe. But now we fast forward to August and September 2022, and the plot thickens. These months are highlighted in a divorce petition by Vappy's wife, marking the height of the alleged affair.
So in this filing, a person is listed as Mrs. L.C. and is accused of having an extramarital affair with Officer Jeffrey Vappy, who was once Mayor Cantrell's top detail officer. And a source confirms to WDSU that the person listed as L.C. is Mayor LaToya Cantrell. Now, the documents show the petitioner wants a divorce because she says that Vappy continued to commit adultery, which he denies. The court documents were filed just this month, alleging that November is when Vappy's wife became aware of the alleged inappropriate relationship, which reportedly had been going on since May of 2021.
Apparently, she knew about the affair because he admitted about who he was cheating on with. It was the mayor. This is straight bodyguard, Whitney Houston type stuff. She's been questioned about possible ethic violations tied to contracts and spending. There even reports that the FBI was sniffing around City Hall for reimbursement abuse. Like, this isn't noise. This is a full-blown alarm. Let's throw in attention with the city council as well, because when you got half of the city council calling for your leadership and you're issuing veto threats like you're some kind of Game of Thrones spinoff, that's not good governance. That is drama. And yet every time she gets a mic in front of her, she acts like it's radioactive. This city is dealing with crime, housing instability, broken infrastructure, and public distrust. And instead of transparency, we get dodges, no comments, and the generic press conferences. This isn't just frustrating, It's dangerous because when leaders stop talking, corruption doesn't go away. It just thrives in silence. Mayor Cantrell owes New Orleans answers, not just sound bites, not staged speeches, real talk, real accountability. And until we get that, the city's leadership is just going to run on autopilot and the people are going to be the ones paying for it.
During her speech, she spoke about doing the right thing, but still being criticized.
Just like a mayor, police officer, you can go from being celebrated to being crucified.
The mayor has been dodging reporters' questions for months now, despite—
Hold on a second. So this is what kills me. She stood there preaching about doing the right thing. But ma'am, is the right thing being silent? Because so far the only consistent thing you have done is avoid accountability like it's some kind of pothole on Canal Street. This isn't some influencer getting canceled for a bad tweet. You are a public servant. You were elected to lead, not to ghost the media like they ask to see your phone. You're at the center of tons of controversies, lawsuits, and spending questions. And instead of answers, we are getting radio silence. So let's not get it twisted. This isn't an isolated moment. This is a pattern. She's been ducking the press since people started asking her questions. New Orleans has the money for these luxury flights, but somehow can't pay the school board what it's owed. But we'll get to that. For now, this little now you see me, now you don't routine is tired. You can't lead a city through PR statements and security details. Eventually, the people want to hear from you, not around you. So let's keep it going.
despite several controversies swirling like the travel ban. After the mayor and her administration said the city can't afford to pay a previously agreed to settlement to the Orleans Parish School Board, the council enacted a travel ban. The council said if the city can't afford to pay the kids, then they can't afford to pay for travel. A judge ruled the council didn't have the authority to do that. Even though the judge ruled in her favor, Cantrell didn't comment.
Like she says, I do the right thing and still get criticized. What dimension are we in where you're the one being crucified? Ma'am, you're not on the cross. You're the one dragging the city budgets behind a parade float and calling it leadership. Let's get into this. You told the public there's no money to pay a settlement for the New Orleans Parish School Board. Make it make sense. And when the city council tried to step in and say, hey, maybe we shouldn't have the mayor on jet set adventures if we can't pay our bills, you'll think that'll be the moment to pause, reflect, maybe take some accountability. But nope, she lawyered up and let the judge fight her battles while she's able to practice her speech, talking about how she's being a victim. Even after the judge ruled in her favor, she still doesn't want to say a word. No press conferences, no questions taken, just a carefully worded PR statement about moving forward.
So can you speak about the judge's decision to halt the council's travel ban?
That's embarrassing. What kind of leader is that? Like you're going to pretend that the reporter is. You are a public official. This is the job you wanted. You weren't forced to do this. You have to speak to the media whether you like it or not. That's how the information gets sent to the masses. Or you can actually go on your own social media platforms and explain the situation in your voice, what is going on. But no, you just gonna act like you're Karen Bass from LA. Just pretend that no one's there to ask the question. And you just sit there and act like nothing is going on.
Do you owe citizens an apology for being absent while their homes were burning? Do you regret cutting the fire department budget by millions of dollars, Madam Mayor? Have you nothing to say today? Can you back up? Appreciate it. Have you absolutely nothing to say to the citizens today?
It's extremely, extremely cringe and it's embarrassing.
The ruling, Cantrell released a statement saying in part, quote, the mayor remains hopeful that we can move past these disputes and work together to address the issues that matter most to the residents of New Orleans.
No, we're not moving forward until you can start to explain how the city's financial priorities got this whole situation upside down. You're not doing the right thing, Mayor. You're doing the thing you think you can get away with. People need to start paying attention to this.
The school board has taken the issue to court. Mayor Cantrell didn't comment on that either.
Mayor Cantrell, any comment on the lawsuit with the...
On paper, it should be a win. A moment to step out, hold a press conference and say, you know what, see, I told y'all I was right. But instead, she still says nothing, just straight up ghost mode. That's not the behavior of someone who won. That's the behavior of someone who just didn't want to have any follow-up questions. It's like, what are you scared of? You don't get to hide your court rulings while pretending that you're above the conversation. We get it. You legally can travel. Cool. But should you? Should you be globetrotting on the city's dime while kids are in underfunded schools and the school board is literally suing you for breaking a settlement agreement? This isn't just bad optics, it's insulting. This is the rules for thee, for not for me energy. If New Orleans can't afford to do right by its kids, then maybe we shouldn't be out there collecting airline miles like it's a side hustle. And her statement, we should move past this, that's not leadership. That's something you say when you get tired of getting dragged, but you refuse to change. You can't just sprinkle some vague unity dust on top of this dysfunction and hope the people forget what's underneath it. Mayor Cantrell wants the benefits of being a public figure without the responsibility or the accountability. But unfortunately for her, this isn't the influencer culture. This is public office, and your silence speaks volumes. So let's talk about this other crazy situation.
Plus, the city says it just recently found evidence that the Homeless Services Director, Nate Fields, kissed a worker while on the job, according to our partners at NOLA.com. The mayor did not comment when asked Friday.
Mayor Cantrell, can you speak to the Nate Fields investigation?
Yeah. All right, take care.
The mayor is expected to decide disciplinary actions Fields may face. Despite no answer to any of our questions Friday,
the woman who filed a complaint against Nate Fields works for Civics. Friday, the city clarified that the contract with Civics was never terminated. They said in part the current contract is set to expire in March of next year.
Okay, so this is pretty messy. I mean, messy doesn't even begin to cover it. We have some allegations that Nate Fields, and we're not talking about the Nate Fields for Thornton Township. This is in New Orleans. The city director of homeless services was out there getting handsy with a worker on the clock, and Mary Cantrell still ducking. It's like she's allergic to microphones or something. Or I think because she had her own issues with some officers that she probably don't want to bring that situation up. But still, let's be clear. These allegations are serious. It's not just ethically, but legally. It's workplace misconduct. If a dude is kissing a coworker on a job without consent, that's not just a red flag. That's a whole damn carnival. And the problem is, who's supposed to be taking action? The mayor herself. When reporters ask her about this, again, nothing, no comment, no plan, no concern, just more silence. And look, this isn't just some random office drama. This is director of homeless services. That means vulnerable populations, grant money, high stakes decision making. If the leadership in the department is out there acting like they're on some kind of episode of the Real World City Hall, and that's an old reference, but you guys probably know about that one. How are we supposed to trust anything coming out of that office? And here's the real kicker. The woman who filed a complaint, the city clarified her contract with Civics was never canceled. So why even bring it up? It's like, don't worry, folks. The woman who allegedly got harassed is still employed somewhere. That's not the win you think it is. But once again, Mayor Cantrell sitting silently on the mess that she's directly tied to and hoping it just fades away. But here's the thing. Silence isn't neutral. When you're the one in charge and you say nothing, you are protecting the problem. You can't be the boss and play clueless at the same time. If Nate Fields doesn't get held accountable, then the accountability gap runs all the way up the chain, straight up to the mayor's office. So that's multiple dodges of any kind of information, more scandals, and still zero accountability. That's a really bad record. So Mayor Cantrell pops up like everything is fine, gives 10-minute leadership speeches, then vanishes into the shadows like Batman with a city credit card, all while reporters are practically begging her to answer for these lawsuits, these financial mismanagements, and now workplace misconduct in her own administration. This is a dumpster fire. And every single time the press asks a real question, she turns into a mime. No words, no plan, no action, just vibes and carefully worded PR statements. But again, like I said before, many times already on this video, this isn't leadership. This is a masterclass in avoidance, like she's running the city off a magic 8-ball. We'll continue to see more nonsense and more issues because at this point, Mayor Cantrell is not just dodging questions, she's dodging the whole damn job description. Public servant. More like public skeptical. And the saddest part is that she's not long. She's another example of what happens when power meets zero consequences. So we'll continue to follow the story like we do for many of these ridiculous mayors across the country. Thank you for taking time to watch this video, and I'll see you guys in the next video.